And we're back with Truth Unrestricted, the podcast that is creating and interpreting the language of the disinformation age. I'm Spencer, your host, back again today with Patrick. How you doing, Patrick?
I don't like children anymore.
Okay. Wow, that's non sequitur.
Mine in particular.
Nothing to do with what we're talking about in the podcast today, but that's fine. It's on your mind, man. It's
Sorry. Just wanted to confess that.
okay. All right. Well, I'll watch the news later for any developments.
They're annoying. They're very
Okay.
self-centered.
Well,
I'm sorry. I have no idea why I went that. I'm fine. Oh,
yeah. Well, okay. There you went. Okay. Now you're back. All right. I paused it while you were gone. No one noticed much that you left, but I'm leaving that in.
Yeah.
Just
I
so
was
you know.
something new with my lighting. It didn't work. Back to the drawing board.
Yeah. So with that out of the way, I do have a little bit of housekeeping. I reported on a previous episode that I had been getting some emails that seemed to be from some kind of AI automated thing, and that I mentioned that I was getting the emails, and then the emails stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mentioned that they stopped, and they've come back.
Ooh.
I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't know. I haven't responded to any. Yeah.
What are they saying? What are they asking?
I think I need to maybe eventually I do an episode where I review some of these and people can decide for themselves if they really think I'm.
Let's get them on the show. Yeah.
I'll try to contact the bot that's been sending me the email and say, hey, machine.
See how far their follow through will go.
Yeah, well, it's a similar pattern. It's a sort of someone has a self-published book or their own podcast or some other thing like that. They have an experience that they want to review or whatever, and they it's almost always, I can tell that they're sort of shades of conspiracy, but they're also like portrayed as though they're not, as though everything they say is going to be truth. And then it will be the case that sometimes they'll put some wording in a previous episode of the podcast, like a recent episode, as though an AI scanned the transcript and then like used a phrase that I used back at me, echoing type, to make it look like they're the person that's really interested in what I've been saying. But then that's the only echo. Nothing else about it in any way references anything that I'm working on here. And then I won't respond. And then usually like 5 or 6 days later, I'll get a follow-up that says something like, we know that it's busy. We just wanted to check in again in case this got lost in the shuffle kind of thing. And then, and it's always the same pattern. It's always 2 emails.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's
the AI double tap.
It feels very automated. It feels very, so I don't know. But that's the housekeeping. That's the update on that. That's the only feedback I get. Thank you very much. My cat is still asleep here, waiting for people to want pictures of him. He's covering his head because he's ashamed that he doesn't look good enough for people to want pictures of my pets. So, yeah.
So lovely.
Till then, I'll just keep taking pictures of him doing cute things, and no one will know about them except for me. So there.
Keep them. Have the collection.
So today I have a topic. I'm calling it trusting unreality. So this is a situation where someone is sort of being dishonest or presenting something and is probably untruth, but someone who's like a fan of them is trusting it, and coming to understand that a different thing is true. So I had a previous episode that I called Schrodinger's meaning, which is when you deliver a message and you attempt to purposefully deliver the message and the opposite of that message at the same time. So Jordan Peterson does this a lot, where he'll be so confusing that it seems like he's saying one thing and then people interpret the opposite of that thing, like, and this happens with him all the time, and it's mostly because he's looking to be as confusing as possible in every time he speaks, right?
Right.
But it also happens with things like people who claim that they're just being ironic, but they're actually being serious. So people like Nick Fuentes, noted and rising star in the right wing enshittification sphere. Nick Fuentes, noted anti-Semite, and if you've ever seen anyone in a shady way referring to Cookie Monster in a way that's kind of shady, as in Cookie Monster maybe cooking, 6 million cookies, that's because of Nick Fuentes, because he
Okay.
attempted to say at one time that it would be impossible for so many Jewish people to be killed in the Holocaust, because it would be impossible to put them all through an oven in that way. But instead of referring to them as people in an oven, he was referring to Cookie Monster cooking that many cookies and trying to do the math on it, like how many cookies could you make and how many, like, in this sort of way to cast aspersions on the idea that the Holocaust was real.
Wow.
Oh yeah, this real. He is the real fucking deal on anti-Semites. Like,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, but this isn't quite like Schrodinger's meaning would be like they're deliberately trying to deliver both messages. They're trying to look like they're clean cut and also anti-Semite at the same time, which is like Nick Fuentes' gig. This isn't quite the case. Of This is sort of on the, just to the one side of that. So this came up in my head because I was there's a podcast. I'm going to plug a podcast here. One of my favorite podcasts is a podcast called Some Dare Call It Conspiracy. These guys, pair of guys from Britain, they used to be deep in the conspiracy world, and they've sort of come out of that world since then. And they do deep dives on like individual conspiracies. They'll do like just one. They'll pick one, and then they'll do like a deep dive on it. And in this one, this latest one they just finished like 2 days ago, they did in the free version of their podcast. You finally got the last episode of it. They completed the Paul is dead conspiracy.
Oh,
Paul McCartney.
right. Right.
Yeah. There's a conspiracy theory that started shortly after the event that it's said to be about. It actually started in 1969, was the first mention of this. That Paul McCartney died in 1966 and was replaced by some other dude. There was a book written about this called The Memoirs of Billy Shears. And in the podcast, 14 episodes, they go through this entire book, and they, go through all the shape of what this conspiracy is supposed to be, and they do all the research on why it's not really true and why aspects of it are not really worth listening to. And it's a very good deep dive. Um, but what struck me, it it's not the kind of detail that is very big, but it was interesting to me. I was thinking about it as I was listening, because they mentioned that the book portrays itself, and explicitly mentions, I believe they did say it explicitly mentions that this is a fictional narrative. So this is a conspiracy theory, a book about a conspiracy theory that explicitly says in that same book that this is a fictional narrative. So what's happening here is that the person who wrote it is explicitly saying it's a fictional narrative, and then sort of this is done with sort of a wink, and the rest of it is done as though it's completely real. And people who are sort of what might be called the reality challenged in the conspiracy world look at this and go, well, of course, he has to say it's a fictional narrative. Otherwise, they'll come after him. The Illuminati, the people in charge of making sure that no one learns the truth about what happened to Paul McCartney in 1966, will come and he'll have a terrible accident of some kind and he'll die.
Mm-hmm. So how obvious is the wink?
Well, I didn't read the book.
Okay.
They do review it, and in doing so, they both mention at the beginning of their series and at the very end in the last episode that he mentions in the book that this is a fictional narrative. But I think from my understanding of how people who engage with conspiracy beliefs would engage with this book is that they would believe it and then explain away the explicitly fictional part as, well, of course he would say that, wouldn't he?
That's a disclaimer.
Yeah, it's their own disclaimer that they apply to it in the
Mm-hmm.
way that all conspiracy beliefs are part audience participation. It requires the imagination of the audience to become part of the conspiracy itself, which is how they stick, right? Because when you have to engage part of your own system to make it work, you're in. It only works on a very small percentage of people, but the people that it works on, it works really well on. So like essentially that same math, a very small percentage of people, that's basically what most successful cults have too, right? They'll invite in 100 people, only 3 will stay, but that's fine. Those are 3 people who are in forever, right? Like, a cult that lasts more than a year, especially a cult that lasts many years, will have many thousands of people that went through the cult, but maybe only 1,000 or a few thousand that kind of really stay in, right? It's interesting, this thing, but it's a sign that we should not, we should be careful about the way that we allow people to engage in fictional narratives. So with that as a setup, that was a long setup. I want to take a look at, in this episode, I want to take a look at 3 political figures in our lives now that are sort of like on 3 different spots along a continuum of engaging with the world and their audience, their fans, their base, if you will, about this. So like they're lying, or they're representing themselves in a way that is likely not totally true, and their fan base is expected to look past that in order to properly engage with them as fans. So I'd like to put these 3 side by side as examples and see how this looks. So are you ready? Are you on board yet, Patrick?
I feel ready. I'm on board. Yeah.
You feel ready? Okay.
Yeah.
So the first politician we're going to look at is our own Prime Minister Mark Carney. So very recently, I think just a few weeks ago, I shouldn't say that. I don't know exactly when I'm putting this episode out. It was fairly recently. Mark Carney addressed a room full of suits, mostly CEOs, in New York. I believe this is called something like the New York Business Club, or like Manhattan Business Club, or something like that. It's very important business people in New York, and he went to speak to them. So it's sort of a semi-public sort of thing, right? Like he's not like being recorded as far as I could tell, but like probably there could be people taking notes, and what he says might make it to the press depending on what he says, right? but he's not like addressing Parliament. He's not on the campaign trail. He's not deliberately walking up to a microphone specifically to speak to Canadians, right?
There's no media direct interface.
I don't know that for sure. There could be reporters there. I mean, it is an important room, right?
Right. I mean, but there's not
But
like a
it's not like a
microphone.
press room. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's not the atmosphere. This is like a talk that he's giving to people,
A group
and
of businessmen, business
some people would
people.
say they're people of his ilk, right? That
Mhm.
he belongs more in that room than he belongs in most other rooms because they think of him as a businessman, even though he's not really. He's a banker, not quite the same thing. And for that matter, not really. He did work at Goldman Sachs, I believe, but for a while. But he's not like really like a private banker guy. He's more like a direct the flow of money on a meta scale at the top level kind of guy, right?
Mhm.
Not saying invest in this particular company, but more like maybe invest less in this particular mining thing, or invest in this less in this country or something, right? Like that's more his level.
More macro.
Yeah, more macro, less individual banker level,
Mhm.
and certainly less business level. I mean, people would when he first got to become prime minister, people would go look at the list of companies that he owns stocks in a venture that he worked for that I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's sort of a investment house, right? And they have 250 companies that they invest in or whatever. So they just would go there, list the companies, and say, "Look at all these companies he's invested in. He's obviously on the take, and blah blah blah. He's going to
Right.
make decisions that are going to." And I'm like,
And they're all part of one
th-
index
"This
bundle.
is a what's known as a well diversified stock portfolio."
Yeah.
Like this is not like if you could say that he invested more than 10% in any one of these companies, then you might really have something. But even his total wealth isn't, it's barely a whisker compared to the kind of wealth that would change hands. Like he's not even in the 100 millionaire club, right?
Not even.
Like not
For a
even, which
guy
is,
that's run banks for countries, this is shameful.
well, I mean, they speak of him as though he's uh a billionaire, but he's not even a tenth of a billionaire, right? Like
Hmm.
he is rich, but he's not even like Trudeau rich. The Trudeau family is much richer than Mark Carney.
I know nothing.
Yeah,
How much
well,
is the
it's okay.
Trudeau family worth?
I don't know the exact number. I'm pretty sure it's a couple hundred million. They're a very rich family that has established wealth over generations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, Mark Carney was speaking to this room full of very rich people who were all undoubtedly much richer than he is. And he said, and I quote, "Canada Strong will help make America great again." So he said the four magic words, "make America great again." And this can't be an accident, right? This can't be that he's just tripped up and just sort of said this. I think this must be a guy as careful and as prepared as Mark Carney is. It's ludicrous to think that he just sort of accidentally said these words in this order, right? So
Right.
this immediately a bunch of journalists went to straight to the internet and said, "Oh, Mark Carney said to make America great again," and blah 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 blah.
That comes with
But
some implications of alignment
yeah,
with
absolutely right, absolutely.
MAGA.
So
Yeah.
right, so I think a more salient take is that he is sort of doing some level of pandering to a very specific subsection of the American audience
Mhm.
when he's using words in this order, this way. Um, and certainly the Trumpier parts of the American audience would, their ears would perk up at this.
Yeah. It's like he's using wordplay that has
Yeah,
some risks of accidentally gaining him some favor from a quarter, a section of the political spectrum that normally would not even
right.
pay attention to him.
Right. But he's not on a campaign thing. He's talking to business people. He's
Mhm.
attempting to influence them to in turn influence the uh, current sitting administration to pull strings to be like, you don't want these tariffs, right? Like, you
Mhm.
don't want a bad trade relationship with Canada. You all do business with Canada. Like, that's the subtext of most of what he was attempting to say to them. But he doesn't want to come across as whiny or needy or any of those things because they're all powerful businessmen. They only respond to powerful people. So he says things like Canada Strong will help make America great again. But in essence, based on everything else that he's said, he's not really a mega guy. He's trying to make sure that the US doesn't, put more work into hurting our economy. Um, but he doesn't want to have to beg to do it. But this is a curious thing because this is kind of the first moment I've caught him doing this specific thing where he's sort of attempting to look like he's on the American side when he's also wanting to tell Canada that he's not on the American side, he's on the Canadian side, right? Like if we were having to choose, okay, which side is Mark Carney on? A lot of people, based on his approval numbers right now, even though they're dipping a little lower than they were 2 or 3 weeks ago, they're still strong enough to say that most people would say he's on Canada's side, right? If we're having to pick sides here. But in saying this, if you're thinking that, then you are kind of thinking, well, maybe he's, I don't know, lying on our behalf. Like he's being some level of insincere to try to get the right deal out of a Trump administration, right? Like that's sort of where that mindset has to sit, I think, in order for all the pieces to exist in their brain and still be fine, overcome their cognitive dissonance, right? So, like, what do you think? Is this? I mean, this is very, this is very light. You know what I mean? But this is sort of our starting point on the spectrum of ideas.
I have questions,
Sure.
or at
Yeah.
least,
Yeah.
you know, so the first one is like, I see what you're asking, or you're suggesting could be the case where there's this kind of suggested alignment with
Like a
the American.
representation that's perhaps not entirely true, right?
Well, because like using the tagline of what would normally be considered, so in many, so there's two different um axes here. There's the Canadian American spectrum, right?
Yeah.
And then there's also the liberal conservative or Democratic Republican spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
So as it is right now, America is in Republican power. So for him to seek any sort of like endorsement or buy-in from the people who have the money, which are presumably the people who make a lot of the influential decisions, influence, the what you call it? I've lost the
New
name for the
York
people
Business
that
Club.
the no, the lobbyists,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Okay.
um,
Well, these men wouldn't be lobbyists.
no, but they're buying, they're paying, they're employing
they're
lobbyists.
they would be
Uh,
employing lobbyists. They're a
exactly.
level above lobbyists.
Right. So
They tell
that's why
lobbyists
he's,
what to do. Yeah.
it could be the case where it's just knowing that right now the states is under Republican control, and also looking at the fact that the Liberal Party has invited conservatives to join them,
Yeah.
and never really erasing the question of like, oh, have those conservatives completely abandoned their ideology, or are they seeing compelling echoes of things that are important to conservatives inside the Liberal Party? Like, is the Liberal Party changing in a way that makes it more inviting for, say, Republicans in the States to consider what is the new Liberal government that we're looking at up north. And also, this brings me back to like I'm not fluent in what Canada Strong entirely entails. So if he's saying this in a way that like we should just maybe be looking at like, well, what is the Canada Strong message? How does he mean that will make America great again? Is he saying that like if Canada is stronger as a party at like the bargaining table, then that means that America will enjoy advantages? Because you could say that about any partnering or membership, that the stronger that the participants and members are, the stronger the outcomes for everybody having anything to do with the process. Does that kind of make sense?
Uh, sort of. Like, I definitely don't think that anyone in that room cares about the minutia of the Canadian Parliament. Um,
No,
I also
but just
think that if Mark Carney didn't have such a you know long list of numbers he could call, like I don't think Trudeau is going to have the connections to talk to the New York Business Club. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like I think Carney has more connections to talk to the right person to get to talk to that group. You know what I mean?
right.
Um,
Any of these business people, though, when they consider what their international strategy is, especially with Canada, they're going to be looking at whether Canada is under liberal or conservative control and kind of have like a playbook for what the strategy approach is. So if Carney comes down and starts sounding a little more like, those lines aren't so clear between liberal and conservative, then maybe it could be argued that he's making it more enticing for Republicans to consider strategies that they only would have considered with the conservative playbook, but to say, oh, maybe some of these things might be acceptable to the new kind of image of the Liberal Party. Because that image is currently under some shift, right?
yeah, I still personally I think those CEOs still don't give a shit.
Well, yeah, fair
I
enough.
think they just don't. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Canadian Prime Minister guy that has some, yeah, absolutely. Uh, but they they might do some business in Canada. They might even have to buy materials through Canada or whatever, or sell to Canada or whatever it is. But generally speaking, I doubt they really give a shit about which party's in charge in Canada.
Fair enough.
Probably
Yeah.
have no idea that we have a party called the NDP that might be, if they ever got in power, some bigger problem for some of the businesses. Probably never gave it a second thought. That I
Mhm.
think these people generally think that uh, if another country doesn't want to do business with them, that's fine. The only country whose rules matter are the United States, and that's it. I think that's generally where they sit. Um, Mostly, I think that's true. Uh, you know, if they really needed to know that, they would hire what you say a lobbyist, and the lobbyist would be a Canadian, and they would get the lobbyist to deal with all those minutia about who's in charge and who and all that stuff and blah 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 blah.
Mhm. In
And
this
that's
case,
their level,
though,
yeah.
I'm only really kind of looking at it like what would the possible motivation be on
Of
Carney's part,
using
you know,
this,
of using that, or just like the way that there's, I don't know, there's a bit of blending, right? And I don't recall a time when we've seen this many people cross the floor to join the opposite party.
I think that has a lot more to do with Pierre Polyev than it does with Mark Carney.
All right.
the,
Okay. I
the
don't know.
insight, like from the podcasts I listen to that have people who like Chantal Hébert, who has spent 30 years cultivating relationships with MPs and that sort of thing, and people in parties. Um, Most of the discord, most of the floor crossers from the conservative to the liberal are due to people unhappy with Pierre Polyev and
Okay.
his leadership. And he's
Not
never
just because
been,
the liberals made it so enticing and they were
no,
such weak moral
he's never
characters.
been fully embraced. And it's from what the inside scoop is, the inside baseball on that is that because they all do kind of know each other, the Liberal Party people, they talk to them every day in Parliament, got to know that maybe some of them were, and so they just talked to him a little more and said, hey, like, doors open.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them did, right? And
Yeah.
so I mean, the math on that is always like, what was Carney short? Was he 4 seats short or something?
I
3
think three
seats
or
short?
four. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So like, if you're 5 or more seats short, then crossing the floor means very, very little because you don't get that close. But like, from 4 and less of the numbers to, from your party needing to 50%, um, each one person that crosses the floor gets you a significant percentage of the difference made up. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
4, if you need
Yeah.
4, one person coming over gets you 25% closer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one more person after that gets you 33% closer.
Yeah.
One more person after that gets you 50%. So like,
Yeah.
each one, as you approach the crossover point, each one gets more value. So the timing of the crossover matters a lot. Oh, so-and-so thinks he's going to cross first. I'll let him cross.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll wait and go. So like, the more you wait, the more important a deal you can get, because you can maybe get a deal to maybe get in the cabinet on the other side, which
Yeah.
I don't know that anyone did. I don't know that anyone made a deal. I don't know that they got in cabinet. But you are more valuable as you approach that 50%. And then the same thing is true on the other side. So like, the first sort of 4 or 5 seats on the other side of the 50% mark are all also very, very valuable. But much more than 5, your value drops off after that, right? So like, if you're going to cross, like, so Carney, I can't remember the exact number. I think he was 4 seats away from a majority. Um, if you're going to cross, like, that's the golden zone. You might get up to about 4 or 5 over, but then after that, the incentive to cross, like, the party you're in has to be really, really unlikable for you, right? Because you're not going to get much going across and be like, oh, good, just one more for the tally. Oh, we got one more, whatever. You just go sit in the back bench with the others, and like, it's not there's no party when you cross the floor. I mean, no one's, you know it's
Yeah.
it's a very quiet celebration after. Okay, yeah, go sit over there with them. Like, so in that math, I mean, there are reasons why this occurred this way, and it has a lot to do with Pierre Poilievre's inability to kind of keep all his house in order.
Mhm.
He has some discord in there, and he hasn't sorted it out. He's just not an effective leader of his party. That's the bigger story there that most people don't know unless they pay attention to all the political podcasts. So back to, one step away from the inside baseball of Canadian politics to this. Yeah, I mean, this Mark Carney example is, it's fairly light. Some people tried to make a great big deal out of it, bang a big drum or whatever, and say, oh, Carney said the words "Make America Great Again," but in context, this is not any kind of a really big thing. It is interesting though. So, okay, if it happens again, if he's doing it more, I mean, that's might be a thing that we track, right? But
Mhm.
if it is, and it's accepted, then this means that his base, who have to be, I believe, very anti-Trump, would be accepting that he's going to sort of, they would accept that, oh, well, of course he has to tell them that, right? Of course he's going to have to tell them that he's trying to make a deal. Of course he has to tell them that he has to have a relationship with this narcissist on the other side of the border. Of course he's got to tell them that because he's trying to get some things done, right? But he is misrepresenting his real opinion on our behalf. And that's sort of where they would have to come to believe, right? He's
Well,
done it
he could have
once
been saying it like tongue in cheek a little bit, even delivered with a
to the
measured
New
tone.
York Business Club. Like, if he said that in
Yeah.
Parliament, yeah, I believe it's tongue in cheek, but not to the New York Business Club. These guys are likely all full Trumpers, right? Like, they are
Mm.
I mean, these are the CEOs in fucking Manhattan. That's where CEOs go. That's where they live. That's their home. That's their nesting ground. That's, yeah,
Hmm.
like, you know, there are CEOs in other places, but all of them know what time zone.
Yeah.
All of them know what time it is in New York right now. I fucking guarantee it. All the
I'm
ones in
picturing a bunch of
Tokyo,
them like hanging upside
all the
down
ones in
together in a
London.
cave or something. Yeah.
Well, that's how a lot of people picture them, right? Like, there's a reason why they have a New York Business Club, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's very
uh,
dark in there.
yeah. So, yeah, it's not tongue in cheek at the New York fucking Business Club. I
Okay.
guarantee that. That's a thing
All
I
right.
can be absolutely sure of. They're not making jokes about how lame Trump is. Um, so I want to move on to the next of the three politicians that I'm sort of saying or maybe doing this. So Alberta's own premier Danielle Smith has a slogan that I say this slogan is a little bit of Schrodinger's meaning. Have you heard her sort of slogan that she runs? This the thing she says often about
I've heard once,
the
like,
separatism movement.
or Alberta strong inside Canada
She
united or
says the
something.
actual thing she says is a sovereign Alberta within a united Canada.
What the fuck?
I know. Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What does that even mean? So, like, this is straining the definition of several of those words, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Jeez.
in order to even feel like you understand it, you have to bend your mind a little bit to be like, no, that's good, man. That's good. Like, and I have to imagine some, I don't know, political strategist of some kind was like helping her do this or whatever, whoever thought of it. She's said it, she says it at least every couple days now, right? I mean, now that
Uh,
all the referendum talk is going on, she's saying this all the time on radio shows and podcasts and everything else. But yeah, someone was like, no, that's great. Yeah, say that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Wow.
so
Other sovereign.
this was a thing she mentioned a lot during her campaign, and she said it a lot recently. Um, so yeah, this is a very contradictory phrase. Its exact meaning is just, if you believe it at all, just it means that she just gets to move the sovereignty slash United Canada meter to wherever she likes, just to be like, look, it's both. We're both sovereign and in a United Canada, and everything's fine. And we did it. We did it, guys. We did it. We did the sovereign thing. It's done. It's good.
Mhm.
Um,
Sovereign Canada within United Earth.
yeah, yeah. Right.
We are all Earthlings, I guess. So
I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Why are we paying taxes to the United Earth Directorate? I don't know. What do they do for us anyway?
Yeah.
Um, so in all of her rhetoric, I think I'm saying that she is attempting to give this with sort of a wink, where she's trying to say to the separatist faction of her party, I'm with you. I'm doing all this work for you. Stay in here with me because I'm helping you do this, and we're doing this. But I have to word it in this fucked up way because I have to not pretend to be breaking up Canada.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm with you, but I have to pretend to be with them. But she'll say the same thing to the other side, if you really
Yeah.
try to nail her on it, be like, no, I want United Canada. I have to say the sovereign thing because I have these people in my party that want that. So, yeah, I mean, but in both conversations, she'd be like, I'm telling you the truth, and I'm lying to those guys over on the other side of the fence.
Hmm.
And both are expected to buy that if you're really taking her at her face value. Um, but I think in reality, I think this is not working, which means that it's both sides think she's lying to them instead of both sides think she's telling the truth. And I think in the end, it's not going to work well for her. But who knows what the future holds?
Yeah, who knows where the bar is for everybody that's taking this in right now? Like,
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I have tried to find some separatists who will sort of talk to me on a real level. I haven't been very successful at that, but I've tried.
hmm,
Most of them tend to say that she's not a separatist, that she doesn't want this. Her collection of actions says that maybe if she doesn't really want Alberta to separate, she definitely wants to make it look like she wants it to separate. And I know this might be a little bit inside Alberta politics, but just recently there was a committee that was meant to review the referendum question, the separatist referendum question, and it was a committee of 5 sitting MLAs of Alberta. 3 were from her party and 2 were from the NDP party, and they were having a meeting. And while they were having a meeting to discuss eventually having a vote about whether they should allow this separatist question on the referendum, there was an announcement made by the press office of the Danielle Smith's party, the UCP, that announced that they had voted, that this committee had voted in favor of this being on the referendum. So while they're in the meeting, they get these texts that are like their aides sending them the news, the friggin' press release that says this, and they're like, we haven't voted yet. Why are you doing a press release about this? Like, why this entire, obviously this is a sham. Obviously this meeting, this whole committee is a sham. This whole
hmm,
thing is just done just to make it look like you were considering not doing this and you were always going to do it. It's obvious because you just did the press release. Like,
wild.
so that happened a couple weeks ago. Yeah, and Alberta is not well. It's not good. If you know people from Alberta, talk to them. Just talk to them.
Yeah, check in with them.
Check in with them.
Yeah.
I have a lot of family in Alberta. I check with them in with them a lot. None of them have yet told me that they are a separatist, but they probably know the earful they'll get if they tell me that. So that's a factor that might cause them to not tell me. I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know.
Hmm.
But anyways, yeah, I think that what's happening in Alberta with this referendum is further along this continuum of people who are sort of coming to a tacit understanding that their chosen representative will have to lie on their behalf if they want to get what they want. So, what do you think of that, Patrick? Am I making sense? Am I way off the base? What am I doing?
Yeah, it's I don't know that much about Danielle Smith. I don't follow that
Right,
too
but my
closely, but
explanation of the situation,
mhm.
did it make
Yeah,
sense? Is it,
yeah,
yeah?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, good,
yeah,
good. Yeah,
absolutely.
that's good. That's good. Yeah, yeah. I don't need you to agree with me. I need you to tell me when I'm not making sense. That's your
In this
number
case,
one job.
yeah,
Okay.
I won't always know how to agree with you, but understanding the issue,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just that can be your first exposure. And as I start to see news that I might have glanced over before, now I might look closer at it, and
Yeah.
that's learning.
Yeah. For anyone who is interested in the in-depth nature of Alberta politics, my go-to place for that is a podcast called blank space in my mind where the name was. Um, the man's name is Nate Pike.
Hmm.
It's called The Breakdown with Nate Pike. That's what it
Right.
is.
Yeah.
Just a little aphasia there. It's fine. I'm not as old as I my driver's license says I am. It's fine.
You're fine.
I'm fine. Everyone's fine. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get older later.
Okay.
Yeah.
After this? Okay, good.
Later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should just start telling people to get older.
Yeah. Why don't
I
you
mean, that's a
get
sort
older?
of a backhanded way of saying stay alive,
Yeah.
right? It's a happy thing. Hey, get older. Okay, so the third politician on this continuum, this one is probably much further on the continuum than the other two, but that's fine. It's an example we'll all recognize. It's Donald Trump.
Mhm.
So Donald Trump often says very conflicting things. Sometimes right after the other. Like he'll
I feel
say a
like I
thing
need
and
an
then
intellectual hazmat suit just to consider what we might discuss about what he
well,
says and what he does.
yeah. So sometimes he'll say a thing and then a couple sentences later he'll say the opposite of that thing. Like it's just so whiplash, right? Um,
Mhm.
but I don't know if you've online ever encountered a lot of Trump fans from the United States.
No,
Well, I
never.
played World of Warcraft with people from the United States, and I came across a couple there, and
Mm.
then later on Twitter and other places on the internet. And yeah, generally they know that he's lying. Like all the work that people put into pointing out that he's lying, maybe that convinces some people. But the people who are really, really at his base, the 30% or so that never seems to waver, those people, they know he's lying. Pointing out that he's lying will never change their minds
Mhm.
because they believe that the lying that he does is only to deceive the other side and that he's telling them the truth, that they get to pick and choose of the things he says, the parts they like, and just run with them. Oh, that was great when he said this to me. Oh, it was great that he said this. I really like that joke he told about the disabled guy. That really tweaked my bully nerve, and I really want to make sure he gets in so he can do more of that good stuff. Um, yeah, those people know that he's lying. They also sometimes even admit that he's a kind of a piece of shit. But
Yeah.
they they believe that they're getting what they want from him. It's a very extremely brutally practical thing. So these are like the people who definitely want abortion, right? And so the first time around, they wanted Trump in because they wanted the judges in place so that they could get rid of abortion and do change all that. Did I say before they wanted abortion? No, they wanted to get rid of abortion. I
Hmm.
misspoke there. That was just a you didn't even say anything. I can't believe you didn't say anything.
Well, I mean, you had made abortion.
Yeah, yeah, I sure did.
Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, and that sort of thing. They look at their relationship with Trump as yeah, he's a liar, but he's my liar. He's lying for me.
Mhm.
That's how they see him, generally speaking.
He's not
Which
lying about the important stuff.
no, no, and if he is, he's lying to those other guys over there
Who
about
are
the important
telling
stuff.
worse lies.
He's
Yeah.
lying to own the libs, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So to me, that this has been true since you know at its base level since 2016. It took me a long time to fully kind of realize what was happening there. Um, but those people who are fervently in the Trump camp, they don't care about the grab 'em by the pussy video. They don't care about most of the other things. I think now some of them care about the the Epstein stuff, and that's maybe some kind of problem if they ever manage to make it stick. But mostly they slide past that because they still think they're going to get what they want. And they're willing to just let him lie to them and to everyone else to do that. And it's he isn't just lying on the sort of like like the way like Clinton lied a lot too. And so I mean Obama also lied a fair amount, a little bit less than most of the others, but he still lied a bunch. Um, W. Bush lied a lot, but those lies, generally speaking, were sort of a lie of cynicism about the audience's inability to know the truth, if that makes any sense. So like a politician might lie about whether they're going to work very hard at changing a certain policy, and then later on just not change that policy, not put any work into it, right? I mean that's a common thing that they do. They'll lie to get elected. They'll lie once they're elected to get the the electorate off their back about something. I mean, this is the thing politicians do. It's not it's
Their
not that every
priorities
statement they
change.
make is a lie. It's not that everything they say is a lie, but they do lie, and we have to watch for that and hold their feet to the fire to make sure that as much of it is true as possible. But that's the shape of most of their lies. But Trump's lies are of a different variety. I mean, very specifically, he is using language that is like phraseology from QAnon, the set of beliefs that make up QAnon. He's using phraseology from there all the time, all the time. Another podcast I'm going to plug here. It's called the Adventures in Hell World podcast, but because the guy that runs that is only somewhat insane, he spelled Hell World in a way that's impossible to describe. I can describe it, but most people still get it wrong. You replace the O with a capital Q, and that's how you spell it if you want to type it into a thing to search for it. And he is a person named Mike Raines, who has been tracking QAnon since day one. He knows all of the Q drops, mostly by heart, like chapter and verse style. He knows, he can quote how they contradict with each other and how the whole thing unfolded. I mean, he can tell the whole story. It's pretty amazing. But he can point out the points where Trump is using the phraseologies that were from the Q drops, from QAnon and all of that stuff. I can't because I'm not as deep in that, but I listen to that podcast and he points them out. And this is more like full reality addled persona than it is about a calculated way to not take responsibility for something, right?
So is
Like
that just
Obama might lie about a domestic spying program, for example, and then later find that there was one. Right. Because he didn't want people to know there was one, and because he didn't want to have to take responsibility for having one.
Presidential lie, yeah.
Yeah, that's the sort of lie you'd expect from a president. But Trump will tell lies that don't even matter. Like, and so it's it's so mind bending to try to keep up with them all. The pace that they come out with, it's it's not great.
It's never ending. We are numb to it now.
The real problem is the trust that his base has in him to only be lying to other people. And that's where I think other political movements go, if this continues. Like, they won't all necessarily become Trump the person who's, with all the scandals and all that. But if, like, we're in an age where ordinary people can just go on the internet and use the tools of the internet to make a fake thing that looks real enough to confuse, several thousand people about what someone said, what some famous person said. So when you get like very motivated fans of a politician who want to accomplish something and they feel like their life and the life of their family relies on it for all of their futures, they're very fucking motivated to come up with all that fake stuff. And that is a description of what goes on every day on social media. People come up with fake things. People come up with out of context arguments that throw into memes to like mock people. Like that's most of the political discourse on social media, is people trying to lean harder on the lying button for their own side. And that's terrible. That's going to lead us to be unable to know anything that's true.
It's really sad. It's a sad way to live.
Yeah. Really, really sad. So, what do you think? Did I get this explained in such a way that makes sense, or
Nothing with Trump makes any sense.
No. But like the way that he's lying, and the people who are fans of his understand that he's lying, and it doesn't matter to them.
The way they trust the unreality of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way they trust the lies, and the collection of ideas those lies collectively tell.
Well, I mean, you look at it as a political strategy and you can say that it works, right? Because he has made it so that like the people who are, morally opposed to him, myself included, numb with any attempt to try and keep up. Like, it happens so fast, so frequently, that you're just like buzzed into like, what else can we do except wait? But it doesn't, the same kind of unreality doesn't numb his supporters. They stay supporting.
It numbs them. It's
Like,
almost
they're
like it
pretty
numbs
numb.
them to like him more.
Well, yeah, whatever. I mean, they came
Yeah.
in numb, and that it is not, it's not shifting where they feel like, if you have some sort of will to do something or change something or even speak about something, it's not changing their will to address it. I feel like it's worked for him to sap the will of people who feel like this should be fucking obvious to everybody why we need to be against this guy.
Mhm.
Right. And yet everyone's just nodding dumbly along, like you said, and just, well, I'm going to get what I want.
Yeah.
And that's more important than, I don't know, standing for what's good. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's depressing.
They think they are standing for what's good, Patrick.
They're not standing.
I will
They're
tell you
accepting.
now, from having spoken to many of them, they think they are standing for what's good already. They are already in the morally correct position. That's where they started from, the morally correct position, and they haven't wavered. So why would it be wrong now?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the sum of their beliefs. But anyway, on that dreary note, we will end the podcast.
I need a nap.
So, questions, comments, complaints, concerns, send those to truthunrestricted@gmail.com. And for YouTubers, quick view of my cat that I just woke up so I could show him to you. He wants to get down.
Now, will people who write in, will they be getting a slightly more alert version
They'll get a much
kitty.
cuter picture. They'll get a
Okay,
picture of him
yeah,
doing something notably cute.
something, yes, possibly
Yes.
artistic. Yes, good.
I'm not going to promise artistic.
Well, have fun with the lighting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. So with that, we'll sign off. Till next time, Patrick.
Ciao.
Oh, true. Please remember to rate this podcast as often as possible to increase its reach. Due to the fact that rating algorithms are so incredibly rigged, only 5-star ratings are worth anything. All other numbers might as well be 0 stars. If it's not a 5-star rating, I would prefer none at all. Sorry, I didn't build the system. Please subscribe to this podcast to get the latest episodes brought straight to you and recommend it to whomever you think would enjoy it. And special thanks to Jeff Powell for the theme music. I paid for it by listening to him play his old acoustic guitar until the strings broke back in high school. It was worth it.